to earth today?
A little bit. I thought we were half decent. Thought it was a decent performance against a very, very good side. Yeah, it's not. I'm never happy losing, but I'm not unhappy as I've been at times this season. Put it that way.
5-6 games to go. Would you say it's going to be a roller coaster close to the season?
Yeah, because I don't agree around us. They've all won because the 3 or 4 that was above us today haven't. All it's done is congested.
Suck a few more in.
Yeah, it's congested. You know, at the end of the day, it's going to be a roller coaster. You know, and seeing where we was 5 games ago, we're happy where we are now, and we just have to keep churning it out week in, week out. You know, and make the best team stay up as far as I'm concerned. But look, we said it all on this league's a beast.
Yeah, so Matt, I don't know if you were there in the bar after the Ossett game before we left, but we just won 4 games away from home on the spin, wearing the pink kit every time. So I said to Tommy and Mark, why don't we wear the pink kit for the next home game on Saturday against Stockton? Because we hadn't won at home since November at that point, and it was a bit of a gimmick, but why not? So we did. They asked, I think, permission off the league and of Stockton, and we did. And it did us absolutely no good at all. We gave away the softest of penalties. I say softest, the stupidest of penalties after about 20 minutes, and we're 1-0 down.
And then they killed us off with a late goal, didn't they? But, you know, in all honesty, as you'd rightly said, by the end of that Ossett game, people were, you know, absolutely mentally and physically exhausted. And it would have been a big ask, you know, from a point of view of Stockton at home winning that fixture.
Yeah, I mean, again, no issues that day. They controlled the game. Once they went a goal up, they didn't let us get near them, really, and got that late goal, as you say. So the next one was that concert at home?
Yeah, concert at home, yeah.
Back into the home kit for a home game. And once again, 1-0 down at half-time.
Yeah, a very early goal as well. And I think the thing was that we'd kind of reached that point that obviously we'd had the 4 wins. We'd put ourselves outside of the bottom 4. We'd gone back into the bottom 4. And 1-0 down at half time, there was a danger that any momentum that we had would have been lost, you know. So I think that second half performance, if I remember rightly, did we equalise with a penalty or did we?
Trokey.
Trokey, yeah.
Trokey definitely got a penalty. I can't remember. I think it might have been the winning goal, actually.
Yeah,
penalty.
yeah.
Was it Niall Davey got the equaliser?
It was indeed Niall Davey.
Niall Davey, and then Trokey midway through the half got a penalty, scored it, good lad, and it was a tough old last 20 because Concert were also in that relegation mix at the time, but we had to win a home game. We just had to. There was no ifs, no buts, and we did. Yeah,
and that was Easter weekend. Because
no, was it?
Yeah,
because it was Worksop was Monday, wasn't it?
Yeah, Worksop was the Monday.
Yeah,
and of course, Worksop had won every game bar their first game of the season at Stockton.
Yes.
So I mean, it was a massive ask in terms of going there and getting anything from them. However, at half time,
it was 0-0.
It was 0-0.
And then it wasn't.
It wasn't. No. Then the money that they'd spent on the players that they had came to the fore, didn't it? Yeah. You know, and in fairness, you know, one of the things I would sort of say is that it's a plastic pitch, and I think that if you play on plastic pitches regularly, irrespective of whether you've spent the money that Worksop had spent, it's still an advantage. You know, and you know. They look like champions.
Oh, they look really good. I mean, was it a Dan own goal? Was that
the first
one?
The
first one, yeah, I thought so. Yeah, but I mean, that was almost a free hit at Worksop, albeit at half time. You are thinking, can we just hang on for a point? But we didn't. So that was that.
And then of course, you know, the season basically comes down to the 3 games.
It does. The first of which is Lincoln United away.
Yeah, and Lincoln, the first time we played them in the cup, you know, in the trophy,
Yeah.
we were the better side. You
Yeah.
know, unfortunately, it was an own goal by Loz on that occasion that put them back into the game. And in fairness, I don't really think they had much threat in that game, but we lost a penalty shootout. Here, as we talked about earlier, you know, we were second best all over the park all game and were beaten 4-1. So they, like Grantham, had been dragged into it. And, you know, I suppose the school of thought was that, you know, we put a marker down by going there and winning.
Yeah.
And, you know, putting aside the fact that Stockton and Worksop were the top two, then the form book would sort of say that we had as good a chance, you know, of winning there as we had done at Hebburn, Ossett, you know, Cleethorpes, etc., etc. But lightning struck twice, didn't it?
Well, my recollection, Mark, is we went into that game fourth bottom. They were third bottom, and Shildon was second bottom, and Tadcaster, they'd gone. So it was a fight both to keep Lincoln down there and to get ourselves, if we could, out of the bottom four. And they went 1-0 up after a minute. They
did. And the lad that scored the goal also scored the goal in the first minute here in the league game.
And it was obviously very deflating, particularly as that day we had one of the biggest number, in terms of numbers, Carlton Town away support I've ever seen. The best part of 100 people, 80 to 100 people went to that game. And, you know, fantastic terracing behind one of their goals. And we're a goal down in 60 seconds or so. And we never really got any better.
No, we didn't. I mean, bar the shout for a penalty, which, to be honest, their manager, you know, said afterwards in his interview that if it was the other way, he'd have been looking for a penalty. But of course, it wasn't given.
Yeah.
But we never looked like equalising.
No. And I appreciate we had Trokey around, but given our record from penalties, we might have missed it anyway. So there we go.
Yeah.
We didn't turn up that day, and I know of the 10 game running, that's the one where you'd say that was a really disappointing performance by Carlton Town.
It was. But I mean, afterwards, you know, which was interesting, you know, when the dust had settled, that Lincoln celebrated the victory almost as if that guaranteed their survival. And so it not only was it a difficult watch, but it was also difficult to watch that as well, knowing that we hadn't performed at all on the day.
Yeah, I mean, they got above us. They knew that we had only 2 games left, away at Pontefract and
at home
against Dunstan. Ponty's never easy away, and Dunstan were going for the playoffs.
Yeah.